Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a monumental stack of research, news reports, and proprietary data, and we distill it all down to the absolute critical knowledge you need.
And you really do need it.
Oh, absolutely. Especially now. If your business relies on the internet for, visibility, sales, or even just influence, what you thought you knew about getting found online has completely changed.
It's a whole new game.
It really is. We are no longer simply optimizing for a single keyword. We're trying to optimize for this complex, multi-layered AI ecosystem where clicks are becoming, well, almost optional.
But influence is mandatory. That shift is absolutely foundational, and our sources for this deep dive really confirm that we're witnessing a fundamental re-architecture of the web.
So what have we got in the stack today?
It's a compelling one. We've got a ton on recent technical algorithm updates, specifically Google's 2025 core updates and the new AI interfaces. We're also looking at the emergence of a whole new discipline we're calling GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. And crucially, we're coupling all this technical data with some really detailed consumer behavior analysis, including robust studies on UK online retail and the fundamentals of predictive marketing.
Okay, so our mission today is to synthesize all of this complex information and figure out the core, viable strategy for maintaining your brand presence and your influence.
Right, not just the clicks, because the clicks they're evaporating.
Exactly. We're in a world where autonomous AI agents and predictive systems are taking over huge chunks of the consumer journey.
And that brings us to the core question we really have to answer. It's one that every single business needs to internalize. It's this. How do you effectively optimize for the algorithm when the algorithm isn't a list of 10 blue links anymore?
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation, it's a synthesis machine, and very soon it's going to be an automated personal shopper working on the user's behalf. We have officially moved beyond SEO.
We're in the era of generative engine optimization.
And the strategic implications are, they're profound.
All right, let's start with the technical turbulence, because if you've been monitoring your website's performance over the past year, especially since, say, summer 2025, you've definitely noticed something is different.
Well, fundamentally different.
Yeah, ranking shifts are no longer those predictable temporary fluctuations that sort of smooth out.
Yeah.
We're in a state of continuous, persistent hypervolatility.
It's less like a weather system and more like living in an unstable financial market.
That's a great analogy.
And it's apt because the data shows this turbulence is highly persistent. I mean, since the June 2025 core update, search results have remained in constant motion in a way that is, well, historically unprecedented.
So what are we talking about in terms of numbers?
We're talking about tools like Summer Sensor reporting Google Quake scenarios.
Cycloquake.
Yeah, extreme peaks, sometimes hitting a 9.0 out of 10 on the volatility scale for continuous periods. We're talking well over 6 weeks through August 2025. This isn't the algorithm settling down.
This is the new normal?
This is the new normal.
Okay, so if the system isn't settling, what's driving this perpetual adjustment? Why is the ground always shaking under our feet?
It's really rooted in Google's shift toward what our sources are calling continuous reevaluation of search results.
Continuous reevaluation.
Exactly. Unlike the old system, which might crawl your site, weekly and then lock your position for a bit, this new system is always processing real-time data from across the web. It's cross-referencing against its enormous knowledge graph, measuring user interaction signals in real time.
So your rank isn't a static trophy anymore?
Not at all. It's a living, breathing reflection of what we're calling your real-time authority. It's being verified against a massive global data set with every single query.
So if my site has an outage or a dip in engagement for just 24 hours?
The algorithm sees it instantly.
Wow. That makes traditional, weekly SEO monitoring almost obsolete. You need constant high-frequency tracking.
You do.
Okay, let's unpack the core technical innovation that made this possible, because the term core update sounds a bit boring. But the tech introduced in June 2025 is anything but.
Not at all. This is where we need to understand MUVIR.
Exactly.
The foundational mechanism driving this new architecture is the integration of the MUVIR algorithm. That's MUVERA, multi-vector retrieval algorithm. Its integration in mid-2025 signaled this profound technological milestone.
A milestone that marks what, exactly?
The clear transition from a primarily link-based retrieval system to an agentic, intent-driven, and highly semantic environment.
Okay, so what makes MUVR so revolutionary compared to the legacy systems we've been using for, what, the last decade?
Well, traditional search systems, the ones before 2025, generally used a single vector approach.
A single vector?
Yeah, think of a document or a query being distilled into one single high-dimensional numerical identifier, just one giant number representing that whole page.
That sounds efficient, but maybe a little crude.
It is efficient, but it loses all the nuance. It's like trying to describe an entire symphony with just one note. MUVER fundamentally changes this by using something called fixed dimensional encodings, FDE.
FDE. Okay, let's ground that for the listener. What does that actually mean?
Instead of one massive vector, FDE represents queries and documents as sets of multiple, smaller vectors.
Okay.
So think of it less like a single number and more like a detailed radar chart. Each spoke on that radar chart represents a specific subtopic or semantic aspect of the document.
Like price point or technical specs or user intent.
Exactly. Historical relevance, authorship strength, emotional tone, you name it.
So instead of trying to distill a complex, say, 5,000-word guide on cloud computing into one number, the algorithm can now see that page as a cluster of related ideas.
Precisely.
Pricing models are down here, security best practices are over there, migration tutorial is right in the center.
That's exactly it. This multi-vector approach allows the system to identify these highly nuanced semantic relationships between multiple subtopics within a single page, or even across your whole site.
So it understands that a page mentioning data encryption is related to security best practices.
And that both should be prioritized when a user searches for something like safest cloud provider. The technical result of this is just astonishing. The retrieval process is now reported to be 90% faster and 10% more accurate.
90% faster, that's a huge leap. But what's the practical result for us, for content creators and site owners?
It shifts the focus of visibility completely. We move away from the old method of, keyword density, cramming the perfect phrase onto a page, and it forces us to prioritize true topical authority and cluster strategies.
Pillar cluster hierarchies.
Exactly. MUVR heavily rewards websites that organize content that way. The algorithm identifies sites as true authorities by evaluating your internal linking based on semantic relevance and topic distribution.
Not just whether the link uses an exact match anchor text.
That's yesterday's game. Your content now has to answer not just the user's primary query, but it has to anticipate and answer the logical, related follow-up questions they might have next.
So content creators should be auditing their internal linking, making sure semantically related pages are linking to each other with specific, helpful anchors.
Yes. The links have to flow based on the idea being discussed, not just a keyword target.
And the stronger that internal linking structure is,
The more clearly you signal to MUVERA that you own the entire topic cluster. And that is the definition of topical authority in this new era.
Okay, so that's the engine running under the hood. Now let's talk about the interface the user actually sees, because that's where the click erosion really starts. This SERP has been dramatically transformed.
Primarily by two features, AI overviews and the new AI mode.
We need to define these two clearly because they present really different strategic challenges.
Absolutely. So AI overviews, or AIO, are those quick synthesized answers that pop up right at the top of the search results page.
Often above the traditional blue links.
Right. They're generated using what's called the query fan-out method. The system issues multiple related searches across those semantic subtopics we just discussed to quickly build a summary.
And they're everywhere.
They are highly pervasive. They're appearing in nearly 70% of longer 10-word informational queries in the U.S.
Okay, and the cost of this convenience for businesses that rely on organic traffic? I've seen the data, and it is brutal.
It is. The click-through rate, or CTR, for traditional Position 1 results has just plunged when an AI overview is present.
What are the numbers?
Historically, the average CPR for Position 1 was around 15%. When an overview appears, that rate drops to just 8%.
Oh.
And some sources are reporting a functional decline in visibility as steep as 40 to 60% for many types of informational searches. This is the reality of the zero-click search. The answer is delivered, and the user never has to click.
So this is the big question. Why on earth should I still invest, say, $500 in securing a high-quality backlink or spend days perfecting my topical cluster if the user gets the answer instantly and my CTR plummets to 8%. I know our listeners are feeling that skepticism.
And it's the essential friction point of 2025. The reason you still have to invest in authority is that the AI overview, the thing taking the click, has to source its answer from somewhere.
Right.
If your content is not the most trustworthy, topically relevant source, validated by MU Vera and signals like backlinks and EAT, you won't get cited. And you won't even get a shot at that tiny 8% of residual clicks.
So the content is now being vetted by the machine before it ever gets to the user.
Yes, you are optimizing for the machine's trust, and that machine is the gatekeeper to human visibility.
Which brings us to AI mode. If the AI overview is the quick summary, AI mode, which rolled out after Google I/O 2025, is the full, dedicated conversational experience.
And that seems far more immersive and, frankly, dangerous to traditional traffic models. It is a more interactive environment, designed for multi-turn conversations.
So it's using that same query fan-out method.
Systematically, it breaks the user's complex question into core subtopics and performs those simultaneous searches to generate a rich, continuous response. And what's crucial for site owners is that Google Search Console has started integrating AI mode data.
Clicks, impressions, position.
Right, and this is key. The help docs clarify that if a user asks a follow-up question in AI mode, that's counted as an entirely new query.
So if I search best ways to plan a summer road trip to the Rockies, that's query 1. And if I then ask, okay, what's the cheapest gas station chain along the route from Denver to Aspen? That's query 2.
That's query 2. It completely changes how we measure the customer journey.
It changes the conversation from a single transactional search to an ongoing dialogue.
Where the AI is performing dozens of microsearches on your behalf. It means visibility is less about winning a single search term and more about establishing authority across the entire conversational domain of that topic. Your success relies on being cited repeatedly across all those little internal microsearches.
This technical shift brings us right to the core strategic pivot. If the AI is answering the question, synthesizing sources, and the clicks are declining, we have to ask the big one. Is traditional SEO dead?
SEO is absolutely not dead, but it has been redefined and it's been relegated to one side of a new two-part strategy.
Okay.
The complexity of this ecosystem demands not one, but two optimization paths working together. This is the mandatory distinction between traditional SEO and this new discipline, generative engine optimization, or GEO.
And ignoring this split is?
Business suicide.
Okay, let's nail those distinctions down. Let's start with SEO. What is it now?
SEO, search engine optimization, now focuses specifically on ranking in that traditional list of results, the 10 blue links. Its goal is still to drive traffic to your website.
And it's measured by organic traffic, click-through rate.
Right. The old signals still matter for that part of the game. Keywords, technical site health, domain age, your backlink profile. You still need SEO to catch that 8% of clicks and for highly transactional queries.
And GEO, generative engine optimization.
This is the future of influence. GEO focuses entirely on securing your inclusion in those AI-generated answers.
Across all platforms, ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI overviews.
All of them. And the goal of GEO is fundamentally different. It is not to drive traffic. It is to influence the answer and ensure your brand is cited as the definitive source. Success is measured by new metrics like citation rate and brand mention frequency.
So the big strategic takeaway here is critical. GEO does not replace SEO.
It is a complementary necessity. You need both to maximize visibility across the entire ecosystem.
And the numbers back this up, right?
Absolutely. Gartner has projected a 25% decline in traditional search volume by 2026. That alone makes GEO critical for just maintaining your visibility. We've moved from linear user journeys, search, click, website, to these conversational journeys.
Search, synthesized answer, follow-up.
Exactly. If you only optimize for clicks for SEO, you are going to miss the vast majority of consumer eyeballs and influence.
So if we're prioritizing influence over clicks, the metrics we track have to change dramatically. What should businesses be monitoring right now in this AI-first world?
We have to look beyond clicks. We need to measure influence and trust. The crucial GEO and AEO, that's agent engine optimization metrics, include citation frequency and position.
So not just if you were cited, but where.
Exactly. Are you the first, second, or third mention? That first citation carries exponentially more weight.
This reminds me of that fascinating finding about brand mentions. It seems like holistic brand reputation is suddenly way more important than just technical SEO scores.
It is a critical finding. Branded web mentions, just simple non-linked mentions of your company name across the web, have the highest correlation with AI visibility.
Really?
Yeah, for platforms like Perplexity, the Spearman coefficient is a robust R equals 0.664. That relationship is statistically significant.
Okay, a robust R equals
Right.
0.664. Translate that for us. What does that mean in real-world strategy?
It essentially means if you're mentioned favorably more often across the web, the AI models trust you more. They cite you more readily than they trust content based just on an old school link profile.
So brand mentions are actually surpassing backlinks in importance for these platforms.
For these generative platforms, yes, it suggests they prioritize reputation and your holistic market presence. This means public relations, media presence. It's all deeply interwoven with your SEO strategy now.
So the overall visibility metric becomes AI share of voice. The percentage of AI-generated responses for your core topics that mention your brand versus your competitors.
That's the one.
But how does a business practically measure that? These tools are often a black box.
That is the challenge. You can't just rely on Google Search Console anymore. Measuring AI share of voice involves a blend of competitive intelligence and, honestly, a lot of manual auditing.
So you have to identify your core queries.
Pick your 10 to 20 core high-intent informational queries. Then you manually, or with specialized tools, audit the responses across the major engines. ChatGPT, Perplexity, AI mode.
And you're tracking two things.
How often you're mentioned and how often your competitor is mentioned. For example, a B2B SaaS company might find its main competitor is cited 3 times more often in ChatGPT answers for best inventory management tools.
And that immediately mandates a targeted GEO content strategy to close that gap.
Instantly.
This brings us back to that contradiction. If branded mentions are this powerful and AI overviews are stealing clicks, why should I still pay $500 for a backlink? Do those traditional signals still matter?
They remain absolutely critical, but their function has changed. Backlinks are one of the strongest foundational signals of authority and trust that the legacy search algorithms rely on.
And those legacy algorithms are still the foundation under all this new AI stuff.
They're the foundation layer beneath MUVEA and the AI interfaces. A recent industry survey confirmed it. 73% of SEO professionals believe backlinks still directly affect visibility in AI search.
So they are the structural integrity of the building, even if the new occupants, the AI agents, are walking in through the front door.
That's a perfect analogy. Backlinks validate your content's quality for the indexing mechanism, which then lets the generative AI confidently pull your information into an overview. If the underlying data isn't considered authoritative by the core systems, it'll never make it into the AI's answer.
So that high cost, around $500 per link, it reflects that non-negotiable value.
It's an investment in being trustworthy, not just in driving traffic.
Now let's look at the most radical, forward-looking shift in our sources, the transition from an answer engine to an action engine.
This is where things get really interesting. This is exemplified by Google's Project Mariner, and it signals the beginning of true agentic commerce.
So agentic AI.
It refers to autonomous agents capable of completing complex, multi-step tasks on the user's behalf without explicit human guidance for every single step. Project Mariner is designed to literally observe a browser screen, interpret web elements, and carry out workflows on its own.
Moving way beyond just information retrieval.
Way beyond.
Give us some concrete examples of what this action engine can do in a commercial context.
Okay, take a complex purchase. For a B2B buyer, instead of just giving you links to reviews, the AI agent could autonomously find and compare 3 specific CRM solutions, initiate demo requests for you by filling out the forms,
And schedule the calls in your calendar.
and schedule the follow-up calls.
Mm.
For travel, an AI could plan a detailed itinerary, compare flights and hotels in real time, and then just proceed with the booking using your stored payment info.
So search is no longer just where you find information. It's the marketplace where transactions happen.
It's where they're initiated and executed.
This means visibility is no longer based on informational relevance, but on a much more practical concept, agent readiness. What are the technical requirements for a brand to be agent ready?
This is where technical SEO gets merged with your product strategy. You need 3 key things. First, clean, robust APIs so the agent can interface with your product catalog, your inventory, your pricing.
Second,
Highly precise structured data, specifically JSON LD. And you need to move beyond simple product schemas. You need to be using advanced schemas like how-to, action, or offer to tell the AI exactly what actions can be taken on your page.
So instead of just telling the AI, this is a product, it costs $100, you're telling it the user can buy this product. The action is buy action, and the destination is this checkout URL.
Exactly. You are literally programming the action flow for the agent. And third, you need a logical, flat site hierarchy.
So the agent doesn't get lost.
Right. It needs to interpret and act on your site efficiently. Your site has to be structured like a functional service that the agent can use, not just a document to be read. If your system can't communicate product availability in milliseconds, you're dropping out of the agent-driven market entirely.
This strategic shift from driving traffic to influencing answers requires a complete overhaul of our content strategy. If AI can just generate generic summaries of commodity content, how do we create material that's defensible? What's our moat?
The main defense is rooted firmly in brand, authorship, and credibility. It's that concept of EET, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness.
So the goal is to produce what experts are calling AI-resistant content.
Exactly. Content that a large language model cannot easily replicate because it requires original proprietary assets.
Like what?
Original data, in-depth analysis, live coverage, proprietary tools, first-hand experience, verifiable expert commentary.
So the generic 500-word explainer on what is cloud computing is now
functionally worthless in terms of GEO visibility. Editorial planning has to pivot toward producing content that is unique and citable.
citable, not just clickable.
Right. Content needs to be structured to be referenced as the ground truth source. Every piece of content should have a clear purpose in demonstrating expertise. You should be able to articulate the single sentence or data point you want the AI to pull for its summary.
This actually provides a huge internal opportunity for businesses, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To finally prioritize those high-value content initiatives.
It forces the conversation away from cheap volume and toward deep quality. If the CEO asks why you need to fund a major research project for a proprietary industry report,
The answer is simple. That report, with its unique data, is the only thing that can become an AI-resistant citation source and maintain our competitive advantage.
it becomes your EEAT signature.
This content pivot, though, it raises huge financial concerns for publishers, especially news organizations who rely on clicks and ad revenue. We've seen CTR plummeting 40 to 60%.
That concern is existential. A recent survey of news SEO experts revealed that a staggering 89% expect AI overviews and AI mode to negatively impact their traffic.
And what's the consensus on a solution?
The strong consensus from 74% of experts is that large language models should be required to pay publishers for their source material. Attribution, that tiny citation link, it just doesn't replace the lost traffic and ad revenue.
They feel they're being consumed without compensation.
That's the feeling.
So what new business models are emerging? It can't just be licensing, which always favors the biggest players.
You're right. Licensing is one piece, but we're seeing demand for more sophisticated strategies. Revenue sharing models tied to usage frequency and AI responses is one. But the most intriguing one links back to what we just talked about.
Agentic commerce.
Agentic commerce applied to content. We are talking about an AI agent negotiating micropayments for access to specific high-value premium content in milliseconds.
So it turns a hard paywall into a microtransaction that the AI agent can negotiate on the user's behalf, paying, fractions of a cent for access to a single paragraph of analysis?
Exactly. The transaction is so fast and so small the user doesn't notice it. But the revenue stream is structured and measurable for the publisher. It turns content access into a machine-to-machine exchange.
What about evergreen content, that foundational material that businesses rely on? If AI summarizes the basics, how does evergreen survive?
Evergreen content still matters immensely for building that foundational topical authority that MUVR demands. But the approach has to become far more rigorous. We're moving toward Evergreen 2.0.
Okay, Evergreen 2.0.
If a topic can be easily summarized, that page needs a much stronger value proposition. The content has to be actively made harder to summarize.
How do you make content harder to summarize?
You add proprietary data, proprietary tools, in-depth timelines, or deep, verifiable first-hand experience that doesn't exist anywhere else, and you have to treat it as a living asset.
Frequent visible updates.
Yes. You need to signal that the page is constantly maintained. Add visible last updated dates, what changed summaries at the top. This visible freshness is a signal that your content is more reliable than a static competitor page.
We've focused heavily on Google, but risk management demands diversification. Google is not the only entry point for discovery anymore.
That's absolutely key. Diversification isn't a growth project, it's a survival strategy. Discovery is fragmenting across the entire digital ecosystem.
And we're seeing that in the data with younger demographics.
A major shift. 46% of Gen Z and 35% of millennials prefer social media platforms over traditional search for initial discovery. They're starting their search on TikTok, not Google.
So where exactly are they searching, and what does that mean for content formats?
This creates what we're calling a search everywhere ecosystem. YouTube is still dominant. It's the most visible platform in Google Discover results. But TikTok and Instagram have evolved into primary discovery layers.
Especially for local search and visual validation.
Exactly. Studies show 67% of Gen Z consumers use Instagram as their primary local search tool. They're looking for visual proof of restaurants, shops, experiences before they go.
And this shift requires a completely different optimization strategy. It's moving beyond technical keywords and into cultural resonance.
Especially on platforms like TikTok, which are driven by engagement and authenticity algorithms. The new strategy is what we refer to as brand chem. Brand chemistry. The process of building cultural relevance through authenticity and community trust. It's often achieved via deep creator partnerships and community-driven content, not top-down corporate messaging.
So brand chem is about making sure your brand fits organically into the conversation flow of the platform, leveraging cultural hooks.
Precisely. If you're selling skincare, your visibility might not come from a high-ranking Google article. It might come from a trusted creator on TikTok using your product authentically. It shows that visibility extends well beyond your website. Your GEO strategy has to incorporate social media signals.
Okay, let's connect this technical revolution in searching content to the world of commerce. How is AI search influencing shopping behavior, especially when it comes to predicting what you, the consumer, will want next?
Well, we are firmly in the age of predictive marketing. This is the highly sophisticated use of machine learning algorithms and statistical models to identify non-obvious patterns in vast historical data.
Browsing paths, purchase history, demographics.
All of it. And they use this to forecast future customer behaviors with high accuracy. The models generate probability-based forecasts by considering hundreds of variables at once.
What are some key applications that we would recognize in our daily online shopping?
They're widespread and often invisible. Dynamic pricing, for one, customer lifetime value estimations that tailor marketing spend, and of course, sophisticated predictive product suggestions.
Like Sephora's Chosen For You recommendations.
That's a prime example. It's an AI model trained on your past behavior and similar customer profiles, and critically, it's also used for churn prevention.
How does predictive marketing help stop a customer from leaving?
The algorithms can identify specific behavioral triggers that correlate highly with future churn. For instance, a model might find that customers who set "notify me" alerts on 3 or more out-of-stock products tend to unsubscribe within 2 weeks.
So it triggers an alert for the marketing team to offer a targeted incentive before they churn.
Exactly. It doesn't just predict what they will buy, it predicts when they will leave and why.
To ground this in a real-world example, let's look at this fascinating case study we found, focused on online gift purchasing behavior in the UK.
This is a perfect bridge between traditional retail analysis and AI's future capability. The study analyzed transaction-level data from a UK-based online retailer over a full year, from December 2010 to December 2011.
And the predictive model they developed was incredibly robust.
Incredibly, it achieved an R-squared value of almost 0.98599.
An R-squared of nearly 0.99. That's almost perfect. It means the model could explain almost 99% of the variance in sales data. That is exceptional accuracy.
It really underscores the power of sophisticated data analysis. And what the model revealed about consumer behavior is the crucial insight.
Which is what?
It confirmed that occasional gifting is a distinct subsector of e-commerce that differs significantly from personal purchases. Gifting behavior is deeply rooted in these anthropological principles of reciprocity and social bonding. It carries high social, emotional, or symbolic value.
So the research confirms that gift purchases often deviate from rational economic behavior.
Yeah.
People aren't optimizing for utility or price.
Not at all. They are optimizing for emotional resonance. They're buying based on aesthetic appeal, symbolic intention, and perceived appropriateness for the recipient. The emotional layer is paramount, but the data trail left by those decisions is still highly predictable.
And the model also captured seasonality with high accuracy.
Absolutely. It successfully reflected pronounced seasonal surges, particularly during Christmas. And it even identified distinctive shifts in product popularity linked to these periods.
Like that specific item they mentioned.
The white hanging heart tea light holder. It became this dominant symbolic choice during peak gifting seasons. This small detail just underscores the immense importance of aesthetic attributes and symbolic value in driving high emotion purchases.
Okay, now let's tie this decade-old but incredibly accurate behavioral data to 2025 AI search. We have these powerful models that can forecast sales patterns based on emotion. Now, AI search is applying this level of analysis at the scale of the individual user instantly. This is the fusion.
This is where Google's intensified personalization unveiled at I/O 2025 comes in. AI mode doesn't just use your recent search history. It weaves together insights from your entire digital footprint.
From Gmail, Google Maps history, YouTube Watch history.
Even the aesthetics that dominate your Google Photos archive, it uses all of that to craft these hyper-personalized responses.
Give us a clear, practical example of this in action.
Great. Consider a user searching for a vacation destination. If that user's Google Photos archive is full of recent beach getaways, photos tagged ocean views, and their YouTube history is dominated by tropical travel vlogs.
The AI notes that strong aesthetic and experiential preference.
Right, so when that user searches for a new destination, the AI tailors its recommendations specifically to coastal adventures and boutique beach hotels, even if the user never used the word beach in their search.
So for content creators, this means optimizing for the user's inferred, emotionally driven intent, not just their stated keywords.
Precisely. Content about specific experiences, aesthetics, or emotional outcomes becomes critically important. The AI is actively matching granular, emotionally driven content like the symbolic value of that heart light holder to the user's inferred intent drawn from their entire digital life.
So you're optimizing for their history, their personality, their non-rational preferences.
Not just their last search query.
That is a fundamental change in mindset. From broadcasting content to being a concierge service mediated by an AI that knows you better than you know yourself. We have navigated a massive technical and cultural shift today. The transition from traditional SEO metrics, focused on clicks and rank, to generative engine optimization metrics, focused on citations and influence. It's not a trend. It is the current strategic reality.
Yeah, the goal has shifted entirely. It is no longer sufficient to be found. You have to be cited, referenced, and recommended by the machine.
And the key takeaway here.
I think the key takeaway is that the rise of agentic AI and predictive systems means our content is no longer being consumed solely by human eyes. It's being evaluated by sophisticated machines for trustworthiness, for factual consistency, and for suitability for action. The future of commerce is increasingly machine to machine.
And the quality of your structured data, the depth of your topical authority as defined by MUVera, and your commitment to producing that AI-resistant content were all prerequisites for survival.
They absolutely are.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought for you to take away. We know that 79% of consumers plan to use AI search in the near future, and we know these AI agents are being designed to execute complex commercial tasks on their behalf, finding, comparing, negotiating price, and ultimately purchasing. So if the actual customer interaction is now handled by a digital assistant, how does the fundamental value and relationship of a human brand change when the primary decision maker you must satisfy is a machine? That's your deep dive for today.